What's up, guys? We are live. So the guest you guys have been asking me for is here. We got YBCTooCold in the virtual studio. Let's start off with this. What's your first name? Because I feel like calling you YBCTooCold is going to get annoying.
Yeah, I mean, usually people just call me YBC, like people watch me, but if you want to call me by my real name, it's Yusuf.
Yusuf? Okay. Actually, YBC, yeah, they're both equal difficulty, so whatever. We'll alternate. But yeah, so...
There's a bit of an echo. I don't know why I hear that.
Okay. So the reason... Oh, you're hearing an echo on your end?
No, we should be fine now.
Okay. Chat, if you hear an echo, then... Actually, I hear it now a little bit myself. What you can do is go under the settings and make sure that under audio that echo cancellation is on.
Okay, should be on now.
Yep, you're good now. No echo. But yeah, so the first time I learned about you was probably a month ago or so when you know Austin Summers, right? I mean, you know of him, right?
Yeah.
So he watched your tier list video, the dating coaches tier list video, and he sent it to me, and he was like hey, he's like, hey, why are you not on this list? I guess you suck, like kind of fucking with me. So I watched the video, and I was like, why am I not on this list? So I guess we could start with that. I'm just curious. Obviously.
Yeah. So what's interesting is my journey with game, specifically online game, is very recent. It actually started a little bit before I made that tier list, probably a month or two before. And what's crazy is I discovered pretty much everyone except you. You're one of the last guys in game that I found. I don't know if it's because you're shadow banned on YouTube. I don't know if it's because of some other factor. I found guys like Austin Summers, Michael Sertain, Marcus Wolf, the guys that you have on the pickup panel every week, but not you specifically. And then I found you, and I was like, this is a gold mine of a channel in terms of like Venusian arts pickup. You have pretty much the most infields I've ever seen on any channel. Pretty much, and maybe not like John Anthony level infields. Those are all gone now. But like you definitely had a lot of infields. So I was like, this guy's legit. Because people who don't have infields, I'm like, okay, they might have good game, they might have bad game. We'll never really know. I don't have infields myself, but I'm starting to post them in my private community because I realize how important they actually are to like show validity and shit.
Yeah,
even though they don't perform on YouTube. Like, that's why I don't want to post infields on YouTube because they never perform.
Well, it seems like you got like a pretty good like setup going with like the tier list videos. Like I was quickly scrolling through, and those seem to all do well. Like they're all some do better than others, but they all do really well. With infield, some of them do well, some of them don't. Depends on the infield. I've noticed they can really run the gamut. Like I could post an infield and get 5,000 views. I could post an infield and get 25,000 views. It's like sometimes it's a crapshoot, and it's not really determined about how good your game is in that infield. Like some of the ones where I would say like not my best did really well, and some what I thought were like my best. Obviously perception is open. People have different opinions, but performed average or so. But yeah, I agree. I didn't actually make my first infield until I hit 50,000 subscribers. People kept asking for it. And I was actually, initially, I didn't want to do it because I just thought it was going to be too much of a pain in the ass to figure out, like, the hidden camera stuff or whatever. But people kept asking. So I was like, all right, once I get to 50,000 subscribers, I'll do it. And then I got to 50K. So I was like, all right. And I started doing it. And then I kind of got into it. We bought like a GoPro and we started filming with it. And I'm like, oh, it's not actually that hard to do infield. It's like a lot easier than I thought.
Oh, dude, I have a completely different experience. The first time I tried properly recording infields, it was a disaster. Like I had a boy and I was like, listen, just record me from far away. I was already mic'd up. I was like, just record me. But he was too nervous to actually like film the entire thing. So we had too many sections of the infield where like the camera went down and shit because he didn't want to look like the guy just like filming. So how do you get your cameraman to actually like make sure that he's filming every second of the infield and doesn't just like,
I tell them I'd rather have you get caught rather than and I'd rather have you take more risks and get caught than play it safe and get a shitty quality video. That's what I tell them. But also when you're doing are you using a GoPro or what kind of camera are you using?
We use iPhone. We just use the phone.
Oh yeah, you got to get a GoPro. They're very small, and I'm sure you know what it is. But anyway, you just kind of keep them by your waist. No one tells. And then the cool thing with the GoPro is that you hold it with one hand, and the other hand you have your cell phone, and your cell phone is hooked up to the GoPro, so you don't have to actually look at the camera to like see where you're pointing. So it just kind of looks like you're on your phone. And then for the mics, we use the DJI.
Yeah, the DJI mics.
Exactly. Yeah, those are like the best. And just it works pretty well. Yeah.
Well, these work too. These work too. The Ray-Ban Meta.
Yeah, I have those. Funny enough, yeah, I have this. I have those too.
You have them too?
The only downside with them is you only get 3 minutes of filming.
Yeah, well, there was a light that was a problem, but I ended up blocking the light.
Yeah,
I got
you
like a
blocked
little
the light,
sticker,
yeah.
so now they can't tell when I'm filming.
Yeah. But yeah, like the downside is that you only get 3 minutes, so it has to be like a shorter infield, and then they turn it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you get used to it. It's like you just making videos in the beginning is kind of tricky with all the shit, and then you kind of just get used to it. But yeah, I agree. It feels important. So let's touch back to that video. I guess like for anyone who hasn't seen it, who would you say at the top of that list?
So if I remember, I did put some you know what's crazy is if I made the list again today, I would change up the list entirely.
According to what you believe today, let's do.
According to what I believe today, I would probably put the PUAs a lot higher. I feel like I definitely didn't realize the value of people who showed infields, people who had games. So I ended up putting theory junkies at the top instead of like the people who I would put at the top now are people who actually have infields. You, Marcus Wolf, Austin Summers, etc. Because you guys actually show people what the fuck to do IRL. Like somebody could be behind a whiteboard explaining something for 30 minutes. It doesn't hit the same as when you see someone doing it in real life. That's why I'm starting to transition more and starting to show infields more. I'm in a bit of a tricky situation because, as far as tier lists go, they perform really well. People would rather hear me talk than see me do it. I do get requests where are the infields and stuff. I'm like, dude, just join my private community if you really want to see them, But as far as who I would change in the rankings, let me think. So I'm gonna get hate for this take, right? This is a bad take, but to a lot of people, I put Casey Xander a couple tiers lower, maybe 1 tier lower, maybe 2 tiers lower.
I would put him close to the bottom personally.
Yeah. I think I put him at the top because in the beginning I'm like, okay, he gives some pretty decent advice, but then I realized a lot of the advice on his channel is more about being passive and not showing intent and not doing anything, and that's literally one of the biggest fuck ups you can have as a guy is not show intent. Can I swear?
Yeah, my whole audience will agree with you on that. They would probably rate him average at best. I don't think I've ever seen an infield of him. Has he ever done an infield?
I know, no, I don't think he has. That's the thing. I think the only infield he had was that one. I think he went out once and he had a quick public interview where he asked a couple girls a couple questions, but that was all he did. And never a real RSD style infield. Never seen that from him before.
Yeah, the thing with the pickup community is that 80% of it is just internet marketers. They don't really particularly know that much about dating or game. They don't even care about it. It's just the whole thing is just to make as much money as possible because there's money in this industry. And then there's the 20% like me, Marcus, Austin, who try to put out value. But yeah, the majority, the people who make the most money in this industry are not people like me or Austin. It's internet marketers. It's the girlfriend activation system people, the fucking people you probably never even heard of, but they're making bank from just ads. Casey Xander's probably making bank, right? But again, the whole thing, if you watch his videos and you think about it critically, really, while he does say some things that are true, the goal is to get you to buy. It's very clear that's the goal in each video. It's he sets it up, there's the problem, explains the problem, and how the solution is ultimately going to be through paying for one of his services, which is what it is. But yeah, so I agree with that, putting him lower on the list. What else?
Yeah, I think there's no problem with marketing. The only issue is when you don't provide value for free. It's fine if you sell it as hey, if you buy my service, you're going to get access to more things. You're going to get access to infields potentially. You're going to get access to screenshots of text. I can't post those on YouTube. I think that's pretty fair. But if you're just marketing in a way where you're not giving any value for free, in fact, the value that you are giving for free is almost is just not correct and it's bad, then yeah, that's where the problem happens. Who else would I change on the list? Let's think. I think I would keep Zurka an S. Wouldn't you agree Zurka deserves to be an S tier?
No, you
don't think so?
He has natural riz. I will give him that. I've done a few podcasts with him. He has natural riz. He's naturally confident, but when it comes to actually explaining how to pick up girls, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I've asked him this question on podcasts, what's your secret to picking up girls? And believe me, I truly believe that guy gets laid. But it's also he's 6'4", super masculine, pretty jacked, right? So he kind of has a natural advantage. And he's naturally charismatic. But his answer is like, oh no, toxic masculinity. Girls like it when you're like, like really like possessive. Like he doesn't know how to explain pickup or game or attraction or anything like that because he's a natural. He was
Maybe his wording's a little bit different, but I think his like the way he runs game kind of aligns with things that Mystery would have said in the past, or things that even you guys say. Like he might call it toxic masculinity. What he really means is frame. He might call it hot and cold. Really, it's negging, right? So like there's a lot of, it's just wordplay. It's just different words that he uses, but I think he does know what he's doing with pickup. He just explains it in this like esoteric way that might throw off a lot of people. Like he tries to bring in certain concepts that are like new to a lot of people in pickup, but I think generally his advice is really good. And when people watch him in field and they replicate what he does, it definitely does help their game a little bit.
I feel like his advice is too basic. I think it could be good for beginners maybe, but like if you're at intermediate level or higher, it's like pretty basic shit. Like he doesn't really get into any advanced concepts because he can't explain advanced game concepts. Like he can do it. He can run like really good game, but he can't explain it because again, he's a natural. Naturals generally can't explain why what they do works because there's just like they were just kind of born that way. So as to speak.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think that he would be similar to Mystery though. Mystery and him are like polar opposites. He would be more similar to me than he would be to Mystery, because Mystery's whole thing. Mystery would never like recommend like saying sexual shit initially, or like showing strong interest or like being crass or whatever. This whole thing is like kind of like more like refined, like curiosity invoking, doing fucking stupid magic tricks. So I think those two would be like polar opposites. But yeah,
Justification, as the Black Pillars would call it.
The what?
I said justification, as the Black
Pillars.
Pillars.
Oh yeah, I hate that stupid term. But yeah, although I don't. Yeah, I mean, Mystery's an interesting character too. I've interviewed him. Where would you rate him on the list?
Just for his contribution to game and just for how OG he is, I would put him at the top, right? I would definitely put him at the top just because of his, like, if it wasn't for him, this whole thing wouldn't have like became a thing. So I would definitely keep Mystery at the top. If I don't think I did include him in the list, but if I did, I'm sure I put him at the top.
I agree with that because he has contributed more than anyone, including myself. But what about if we exclude that, just purely based on his skill?
Yeah, his game's outdated now. I think there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't cover. That's why I think guys like you, Austin Summers and stuff, are amazing, because you guys actually talk about logistics a lot. And nowadays, there's so much value in day game. Mystery's thing works mainly in night game, like the whole pre-selection, opening over the shoulder, sets, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that works in day game too, but his strategy isn't refined to the new time, I would say.
Yeah, he never updated with the times. Like, he still recommends doing the Skype close. Like, girls nowadays don't even fucking know what Skype is under 30.
And opinion openers, I try them. They're not as good as I feel like they used to be. I was a fucking kid in 2007, but I'm sure if I used an opinion opener in 2007, it would have worked way better than now. Now it's just like I'll either go direct or I'll try like a situational opener, like an observational one, but I won't like overcomplicate the opener. Hey, can I get your opinion on something? Like, that's too gestury in my opinion. They work. I'm not saying they don't work. It's just I prefer not to use them personally.
I would like make this analogy. Pickup is like, think of it like a sport, like snowboarding in some ways, right? What was considered like the best snowboarder in 1995 would get destroyed by an average snowboarder in 2025 because just people got so much better. Pickup is the same way. Like, he was probably like ahead of his time, but then time passed and now he's behind the time, and he just never adopted. Like, he never really, I guess, ego probably, but he just, he got a lot of publicity and a lot of fame, deserved. And I think he probably let it go to his head, and he's just like he just doesn't want to like kind of challenge his own beliefs. But yeah, I do agree. He's definitely outdated. Like, the whole 7-hour rule thing is retarded. I tried explaining that to him, but we just...
Oh, yeah, where he says it takes 7 hours to close.
Yeah, we just kept... I was like, dude, I've hooked up with girls in like an hour and a half an hour.
It depends on their interest level, right?
For sure, it does. But the 7 hours is... The average is too high. Like, if I had to put my average, it would be like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. As far as the other people on the list, like someone like Wheat Waffles, I probably still keep him at the bottom. You know, he's too statistical, not enough, not practical enough. I'd keep Wheat Waffles at the bottom. Like,
I think he deserves to be on some anti-list. Like it's not only that the shit he says sucks, but he's actively spreading negativity and bad beliefs. He's like it's not that he's not helping people get better. He's actively making people worse.
That's why I'm in such a predicament, dude. I feel like I'm in the line between black and red pill, because like half my audience are actually far into the black pill, like deep into it, and half my audience are like kind of red pill. So I kind of make content that appeals to both sides. So it's like half my audience kind of hate my takes, but they still watch me, I guess, because I'm entertaining or for whatever reason. And then the other half actually agree with what I say. They implement the advice and they resonate with it. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is quite a predicament, because the black pill audience, say what you will about them, they don't really have lives, and they're going to watch all your shit because they think they're too ugly to get laid. So they're not out there chasing pussy. So they're just like, they will watch all your videos, right? Because they have like basically nothing else to do. So in some ways, a black pill audience might be better than a pickup audience, because a pickup audience is like going out, picking up girls, and they're watching your shit when they get some free time. But yeah, I think the black pill is just, I don't know what your beliefs are on the black pill, but I think it's just a fucking horrible movement that's actively fucking people over. I have guys in my mastermind who are like ex-black pill, and you can just still see how like the black pill changed their lives. So like they're just ultra negative, like they interpret everything in the worst possible way. Like, this girl hasn't texted me back for 20 minutes. I think she's out there fucking another guy. I was just like, just wait an hour. And then
they're huge pessimists. Listen, dude, I get into arguments with black pillars all the time. I use my YouTube community post tab like Twitter. I'm the only YouTuber in the entire game who does this. I will post like 5 community posts in a single day, right? Every single time. And like I go to war with these guys. Like, I'm literally on the comments, like trying to convince guys not to be black pill, trying to instill some optimism in them. And then there's always just some guy like, yeah, but Chad doesn't need to do all this, or like Chad doesn't have to try. He just needs to take a step outside his house, and then women just naturally gravitate to him. Look at King 6'8". He just stands outside the clubs, and then women just gravitate towards him. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's true to an extent. If you're fucking 6'5" and you're insanely good looking, you're gonna get girls. But what the fuck do you want me to do about that? Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do a bunch of surgeries and hope that I can reach that point? Or do you want me to learn some game and close and maybe put a little bit more effort? They call it Geomaxxing. Put a little bit more effort to try to close a girl when, maybe another guy would have just had to stand there. But I'm not, like, if I'm not that guy, I'm looking for solutions is what I'm saying.
Yeah. They're not solution oriented. They're problem oriented.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to cost trying to convince them. I went through a period. This was maybe like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It started where I spent like a solid year and a half debating black pillars, trying to change their mind, and they never change. You can present them with any amount of proof. You can, like, their belief is like, okay, Alex, you're too ugly to get laid. Okay, you're a normie. You can't fuck hot girls. Okay, here's a video of me picking up a hot girl. Oh, that's staged. You paid her. Okay, here's a video of me and a hot girl at my house, right? You can see us sitting on the couch. We're making out. Oh, but she's not interested. She's just doing it for the clout. Okay, go to this website. You can see me fucking this girl. You can see my dick inside of her pussy. You can see, yeah, but you probably paid her money. Like, there's always a cope. There's always an excuse. There's no amount of evidence that's sufficient for you to show them. I think the ultimate black pill destroyer is actually this kid, Justin Mark. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, 5'4". I actually did a podcast with him, IRL. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I went to his penthouse. We chopped it up for like an hour. And yeah, he literally told me, dude, like, I'm 5'4" Indian and I pull more than like a ton of white chads and everything. But then black pillars were commenting on his shit. I was reading their comments. They're like, yeah, but he pays for it, or he escort maxes, or he does this, he does, like, they always look for excuses.
There's always a cope. Yeah.
There's always a cope. There's always an excuse. And you know what's crazy? A black pillar could be like, yo, this guy's a low tier normie, bro. He doesn't pull. The second they see you with a hot girl, actually, I changed my mind. He's a high tier normie. Like, they'll change your looks. They will change. They change your looks depending on.
Yeah. Like, it's so funny. This happens with me all the time. Like, if I show like some kind of a receipt or something like that, it's like, yeah, but Alex is like a 6 foot, Russian guy, high tier normie. He's got blue eyes. He's got a cute dog. It doesn't count. What about like what about a short Indian guy? But then like some other video could be like, dude, Alex is like a 3. this dude is like too ugly for life. Like this
Right.
guy is just horrendous looking. This guy is so old, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, like my SMV will change based on like the moment, just depending on what narrative the black pillar wants to form. In truth, I've always found myself to be like maybe average looking, slightly above average, just a little bit. But the analogy I always give, which also falls on deaf shoulders, is I was probably better looking when I was like 19 years old when I had more hair, right? Or at the very least, I was equal looking. But at that time, I was getting no pussy, despite going out a lot more than I do now. And now I can get laid like pretty fucking easily. And like, what changed? Like, if my looks are the same or even slightly worse, and again, there's just never really a clear answer. It's always like, well, you're probably not even getting laid now. You're really making it all up. It's like, okay, well, like, how many receipts would you like to see? Like, how many sex tapes?
Well,
like,
I mean, yeah, that's why I was actually gonna do an experiment on my channel, and I'm definitely gonna do this. It's gonna take a lot of planning. It's gonna take a shit ton of logistics, but I'm going to make it happen at some point where I do a looks versus game experiment. I'll get two guys who are average looking. Would you consider Austin Summers average looking? Maybe a little above average. Okay, he's a good looking guy.
I would put him at average.
Okay, sure.
Black pillars would put him at below average, but I think
Sure. Like average height, he's like 5'9", whatever. I had dinner with him, so he's a short guy. Okay, so him, right? Let's say him and you, two guys who are PUAs, good game, and I'll pick two like 6'3" Looksmaxx Chads who don't have any game, and I'll put you two versus them two. You guys run set for set. We record the entire thing, see who has better interactions. I don't know if this has ever been done before.
I've done stuff like this. Yeah, I've done a variation of this experiment. So
I'm gonna make it a documentary on my channel, though. I'm gonna make it like the biggest video ever. It's gonna take a lot of, like, I'm probably gonna put a month of effort into this video, but I really do want to show guys that like game can go toe to toe with looks. You know, I know looks are important. I acknowledge the importance of height, importance of your face. I can't deny that, you know, if you're like, you know, if you're 5'2",
of course looks matter. Everyone knows that. No one's denying that looks matter. The question is it 100% of the picture or is it part of the picture?
Well, black pillars would say it's around, they never say it's 100%. They would say it's around 70 to 80% of the picture.
I would say those are like hardcore black pill light, if not like bordering on red pill. Most black pillars I talk to say it's 90 plus.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number I hear, 90% or more. Some will say it's like 99% or 100%. Some say game is like completely irrelevant. But yeah, so I've done stuff like this. So I did one video where it was a Tinder experiment. I took my old business partner. He's like an Indian guy, bald, you know, probably like below average looking objectively, right?
Oh, Indian PE? Is that his
yeah,
name?
yeah. Oh yeah, you know him. So I created a Tinder profile for him with really good photos. And then I took a guy who's like kind of a Chad and I had him take really bad selfies and I created a profile for him, right? And big surprise, Indian P did better because he had much better photos. But then the cope that I kept seeing is like, oh, girls are matching with him just for money because he has a photo where he's next to like a plane or whatever, right? So, oh, it's just money, right? So that was the cope for that. I did a real life pickup competition where I took an average looking guy and an above average looking guy, but that didn't work out well because there was some like cheating involved. Like basically what happened is the first night it was too nice. The better looking guy, he kind of took the lead, but then the second night, the good-looking guy just got brutally rejected on his first set, and the average, because they had to approach the same girl, and the average guy got that girl's phone number, and then the better-looking guy, he just got like really in his head, and he started being like really awkward, and so they were supposed to go until a certain amount of girls were approached, and the average-looking guy was like catching up. He was half a point behind. We had a whole point system, and then the black pill guy just like made an excuse. He's like, "Oh, I'm feeling really, really sick." And he just like walked out of the competition. And so technically he won, but most likely he would have lost if the competition kept going because so there's like this weird cheating that sometimes happens. And that was like a whole big thing on my channel where we were debating whether that was cheating or it was the inevitable outcome. The funny thing about that better looking guy, even though he was too sick for the competition, an hour later he wound up going out and meeting up with some random girl and fucking her. So I guess he was not too sick for that. His excuse is that, oh, but I felt better an hour later. So it just becomes this whole fucking messy thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
So I did want to ask you then, as far as looks are concerned, should one change his game based on how he looks, or is game roughly the same for everybody regardless of their looks level?
Game is roughly the same. There's not any substantial differences. A better looking guy will get more interest up front, But really, whether you get, 7 out of 10 interest or 4 out of 10 interest, what you're going to do is not going to be like radically different. If the girl's giving you 7 out of 10 interest, you might be a little bit more like laid back. You might like kind of be a little colder, right, to get her to chase even more. Whereas if the girl's giving you like, minimum interest, you can't be too laid back because then like the conversation is just going to fizzle out. So there's some subtle differences, but nothing substantial.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure. I would say if you're not as good looking, one of the most important things you would have to do is just be a little bit more resilient and shoot more volume. Like exposure is a really big part of the picture. A lot of black pillars would actually, propose a counter argument to pick up by saying, well, it's not that your game is good, it's just that you're shooting more volume. Like it's not the game, it's the exposure, and you just happen to find a girl with high interest. But I would disagree with that from personal experience because I've taken girls from low interest, like they give me nothing to work with, extremely shy, extremely unreceptive. I've taken those kinds of girls to a high interest situation. So I understand that game is important, but black pillars would say no, it's just all volume, it's all exposure. But then they never shoot exposure themselves, so it's confusing. It's like you guys say exposure, but then you guys don't go out and leave your house. So.
There's a lot of contradictions. The story I cite when it comes to that is this has happened a few times, but this was the most like dramatic. I was in Prague with this like fitness influencer, definitely like good looking dude, super jacked. And at the time, I was like 140 pounds. Like I'm 170 now, so I was like a lot skinnier. This is before I got into testosterone and before I really got into working out. So I was like really fucking skinny, like really skinny. I'm like 5'10 and a half, 5'11. So like 140 is like super light. Or maybe it was even 135. I don't recall. I think 140. But anyway, so we go out and I see these two girls. We're walking to this bar and we see these two girls, pretty cute, like both Latinas. And so I approach the girl, whatever, the girl that I was more attracted to. And she like within 30 seconds rejects me. Like she's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You're not really my type. I'm like, oh, what's your type? She's like, I like guys who are a little bigger, whatever. And so I was like, all right, well, meet my friend, right? Look at him. He's a fucking bodybuilder. And so I used the guy I was with to lure them in. But at the end of the night, I was the one that was hooking up with the girl. And I just like watched her interest just slowly transform over time. She started off at like close to zero interest and then went up and up and up until we eventually had sex. So yeah, I cite that story a lot. But yeah, you can do that. You can take, it's not going to happen like all the time. There's a lot of times when a girl's not interested, she's going to remain not interested. But you can take girls who are low interest and turn them into high interest, right? With enough time and skill.
Yeah, pre-selection helps with that. Your temperament, the way you carry yourself, your social skills, your vocal tone, your body language, all of those things do like compound to the point where if she's not feeling you initially just based on your looks, you can change the dynamic. This is why I actually personally prefer indirect openers because like when I go direct, it's just looks based, in my humble opinion. Like she looks at me up and down. She's like, do I like how he looks? Yeah. Okay, then I'll stay in the set. She doesn't, she leaves the set. If I open more indirect and then I show intent and sexualize later on, I find that works a lot better. Like my success rate with that is a lot higher.
Yeah, that's like a big debate in the pickup community, indirect versus direct. I released a video literally today on different types of openers. The argument I made is like the best type of opener is a situational opener. So when you're commenting on something that's going on around you, I find that to be the most effective probably. Second best would be indirect, which transitions to direct, which would be like, hey, do you know where Starbucks is? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I just thought you were cute and wanted to meet you, to give the girl a little breathing room. I think direct openers are really important, especially for guys who get friend zoned a lot and guys who have a hard time showing intent, because then you're forced to show your intent right off the bat. Because some guys go indirect and it always stays indirect. They never transition into a sexual or romantic frame.
That's a huge one. They get friend zoned.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I think for those guys, direct openers are a must. But yeah, I generally agree with you on that. In terms of like the looks versus game thing, here's how we describe it. So let's say we have a really good looking guy with dog shit game, and let's say we have a below average looking guy with really good game. So the good looking guy, he's going to go up to 10 girls, and out of those 10 girls, 5 of them will be initially interested, right? But when they realize that he has no charisma, that he's like kind of simpy, right? most of those will fall through. And the only girls he will hook up with are the girls that are just like really into his looks and they're willing to overlook his personality, right? For the guy that's below average looking, has really good game, he's not going to get five girls initially to be interested. He's going to get rejected by 7 or 8 girls, but then he's going to have 2 girls who are, willing to give him a chance. And then both of those girls he's going to seduce most of the time. So it's just like being good looking gives you an advantage off the opener, and you will have more girls who are initially receptive. But if you have no game, you're going to fuck that up. I've seen good looking guys fuck up a lot of interest like within the span of 2 minutes, right? If you're like really meek and you're just kind of passive, you don't know how to lead a conversation. Like the only girls you will fuck are the girls who are just like so head over heels in love with your looks, which is not the majority of girls. Like it's not, because girls have a lot of good looking options. Like my girlfriend gets DM'd by guys who are much better looking than me, right? But what's the reason that she doesn't go for it? Well, obviously there's a lot of investment there, but I've stolen girls, I used to do this back in the day, from better looking guys than me. And just because I just come off a lot more assertive, I come off a lot more dominant, more charismatic, and then the good looking guy just has no idea what to do. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm the one talking to the girl. So
yeah, but when the good looking guy learns game, he really slays. Like it's over. It's over when that guy decides to get good. The thing is, most of them don't, because they're kind of lazy. They're like, oh, I'm getting initial interest. Like, I don't know if you saw this one video of, he's a Twitch streamer. His name is Marlon, and he's like 6'4", really good looking. He did like a cold approach kind of challenge with this other YouTuber. He's like a, average height Asian. And for some reason, the women were more receptive to the average height guy. I don't know if it's because he came off as less intimidating. I don't know if it's because he felt safer, but he actually did better in his approaches and got more women receptive to him than the tall Chad did. It's really interesting how that works.
That is interesting. Yeah. I send me that video later. Maybe I'll react to it.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, so going back to the tier list, what are some other names that you would say are either at the very top or very bottom of that list?
Michael Surtain, I think I'd keep him where I kept him.
Where was he?
Amazing advice, the one below S tier, if I'm not mistaken. Trying to think, man. There was a lot of names in there. AMS, yeah. I think I'd keep him. I'd keep him for sure. He doesn't really have a game approach though. Like a lot of these, there's like 2 kinds of people, right? There's people who talk about game and raising interest and stuff, and then there's people who say you don't have any control over her interest level. It's either if she's high interest, go with it. If she's medium interest, go with it. If she's low interest, there's nothing you can do. I personally believe that like you can convert low to high. I really believe if she doesn't mess with your looks that much, you can still win the set. But most people don't believe that. That's a very unpopular take.
Most people maybe in this community don't believe that, but I think most normies will agree with that. I would put AMS at like below average. Some of the advice he gives is horrible. Here's what I think is his worst piece of advice. When you have a date, like date plan for like 3 days from now, don't confirm the date. Just show up. And if she likes you enough, she'll be there, which is the worst advice ever. Like if you don't confirm a date that was set a few days beforehand, the girl's just going to think you're not interested and she's not going to show up like 99% of the time. Like he says, confirming dates is simpy or whatever. It's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. So,
I actually tried that once. There was this Latina I was talking to. She was really shit testy though. She was throwing so many shit tests my way. And I decided to try that strategy. And funny enough, I don't know why, but it worked. Like I didn't ask her. I was like, okay, I'm just going to show up to the location and pray she shows up. If she doesn't show up, I just got stood up. It is what it is. And I went there and then she was like, oh, 10 minutes, I'll be there. And she actually came. I don't know, bro. I feel like
how many days in advance did you set up the date?
I think a few days in advance, like 2
or 3 days. Wow. Okay. You got lucky there. Yeah. Most of the time, what girls will do what I call preemptive flaking. So they will, if they don't hear from you, they will preemptively flake to avoid getting flaked on. I've had that happen because I generally like wake up pretty late. Like I'll wake up at like 3 p.m. sometimes or 4 p.m. And I'll wake up and then I go to confirm and the girl's like, oh, I didn't hear from you all day. So I made other plans. I thought you were not interested anymore. So I'll even have that happen just because I like sleep in a lot. So yeah, girls quite often, obviously there's one-offs and whatnot, but generally speaking, you definitely got to confirm the date.
Yeah, Love Drop S tier, Matador S tier. Few know who those guys are, but yes, they are S tier.
Who they are.
Yeah, someone commented. Ashton Adrian commented, "Love Drop S tier, Matador S tier." That's my boy. I think they were like OG pickup artists from back in the day. Like,
Matador, I am familiar with. Love Drop, I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else where would you put some other people?
Okay, let's talk about. Do you know who Rehab Room is? Few know who Rehab Room is.
No, I do not.
He's like the bottom of the barrel of black pill. Like here's where you end up when you're really about to, like when you're really going through a dark time, you end up at the Rehab Room. And I don't even know how I ended up at Rehab Room, bro. Like I just found this channel. Yeah, someone said Krellian said Rehab S tier. I think I put him at mid advice just because of like how doomerish she actually is. But yeah, let's talk about someone else. Who else is in the pickup space that we haven't talked about?
You have
Marquet Devon.
Would you call him pickup? I wouldn't even call him pickup.
I know it was a dating coach's thing. Like I would consider him kind of a dating coach because he does give advice with women and stuff.
Okay, I would put him more of like a red pillar, but yeah. So where would you? I would put him at the dog shit, like bottom of like right next to fucking all those other retards. Where would you put him?
I put him really high because I just like his personality. I like the way he presents himself, his takes and stuff. I don't really remember specific advice about what he says about women, to be honest. Like I might have to watch a couple of his videos to brush up on that, but yeah.
But he's a massive like scammer, right? Like did you ever watch the video with him and Destiny?
No.
You should watch that. You won't find it on Marquette's channel because he took it down. But Destiny has a copy of it. Destiny just like exposes the fuck out of him for just being a fraud. That guy literally, he calls himself a cult leader. Wait, let me make sure we're talking about the same guy. It's like a black guy who's bald, right?
Yeah. Marquette.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah. He calls himself a cult leader, and like he kind of treats his like whole organization like a cult. It's like really weird what he has going. But yeah,
well, Hamza does too, and he got a lot of hate for that. But I did rank him in the middle. I think I put him at like decent advice or good advice or something.
I would put him at below average at best. I think that a lot of his advice is dog shit. He's also a massive hypocrite. Will totally do the opposite of what he says all the time.
Well, you have to think about it from a YouTuber standpoint. The people who give Hamza kind of advice generally get the most views. It appeals to most people. Like when you talk about game in the technical sense, the way you guys do it, it doesn't appeal to as many people.
No, for sure. I like totally agree with you on that. But like the question is like, should you be spreading misinformation because it gets a lot of views? In my opinion, I think that's not something you should do as a content creator, especially when you have influence on people. If you're entertainment, maybe it's different. But like if you're giving life advice or dating advice, like I think it's your responsibility to not spread bad information just because it gets views. But yeah, I totally agree with you. That's the shit that gets the most views. But it's also just like, there's not all of his advice is wrong, but decent chunk of it is, I would say.
Okay, so I do need to talk about this because I just remembered a couple of the people I ranked. So Todd, I got the most hate for this take. Todd V, I put him at the bottom because I'm like, doesn't stand out to me. Doesn't stand out to me.
Virtual high five.
Oh, you don't like Todd V?
No, I don't think he's at the very bottom. I think he's better than some of the people you mentioned, but I put him at like C tier at best. Yeah,
so I put Todd V at the bottom because I kind of like, skimmed over his channel. I'm like, okay, just another, game pickup channel. At the time, I wasn't really that into pickup in game. So I was like, okay, Todd V doesn't stand out to me. It doesn't really like gives too much. Like I thought his advice was too simpy. But then when I checked it out again, I'm like, he's actually okay. Like
he's average. The problem with this game is that he's too technical. It's too scripted. He runs too many routines, which is like
Mystery does too, though. Yeah,
Mystery does too, which is I think Todd is probably equal to Mystery in terms of their skill level. Like they can get laid, but they're also going to strike out with a lot of girls because they're going to come off like weird. Yeah, I also have a personal history with Todd where he threatened to get my video. So I reacted to Todd infield, and I gave said some good things, said some bad things. It was honest reaction, and then he was trying to get me to take it down. He was like, if you don't take down this video, I'm gonna complain to YouTube, blah blah blah. So me and him went back and forth a little bit. I was like, fuck you, dude, I'm not taking shit down. I had my buddy who was a lawyer write a letter just basically saying if you fuck with my channel, we're gonna fuck with you, and then he backtracked. So yeah, I think Todd is kind of a coward who's afraid of criticism, but I guess that's kind of an aside from his game.
Dude, it's kind of crazy because I feel like everyone in the PUA space hates each other. Like John Anthony beefs everyone.
He beefs with everyone.
Yeah, he beefs. I'm sure it's soon enough he's gonna make a video on me, some kind of video on me. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Soon enough, it's gonna happen. You know, and there's like so much divide. But one thing I like about the panels that you do is like there is kind of a community there as well. You know, like the weekly panels. I really like that idea.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the guys who are legit, we like kind of like vibe with each other. Like I get along. Like I have no problem saying Austin Summers and Marcus Wolf are better than me at cold approach, like by a mile. Like, and I consider myself pretty good. Those guys are just on the next level, right? But like I think we value each other's like whatever expertise. We all just kind of get along too. So we got like me, Gabriel, who I think is also amazing. What do you think about Gabriel from Social Hacker?
I've never heard of him.
He's really good. He's like a smaller channel for the reasons that we've discussed, because he gives a lot of like technical advice. But he's really good. I've had him on my podcast like a million times. Yeah, Marcus, Austin. Sorry,
I like Marcus. One infield from Marcus that stood out to me was the one where he was in like I believe it was a Vegas casino, and like he was with the set, and then they weren't being that receptive, so he walked off mid-set to go to a different one. Like that was cold in my opinion.
Oh yeah, Marcus is one of the best. Like him, Austin, and Gabriel, I would just put like I don't even know which one of them is better because they're all like so fucking impressive. Yeah, Lindbergh is pretty good. Also, I shouldn't say pretty good. He's good. But yeah, unfortunately, the majority of this industry is just like kind of charlatans and frauds. You know, I will say this about John Anthony, even though me and him had a massive falling out. When it comes to cold approach skill, he's actually very good. There's a whole bunch of other issues which I can't get into because of the legal thing. But when it comes to just pure cold approach skill, he's quite solid. Like I've gone out with him and I've seen him pull girls like several times. But yeah, there's other issues there.
People sleeping on Julian. Oh, yeah, RSD Julian's also really good.
He was, yes. I think he was definitely like the next evolution from Mystery. I learned a lot from Julian. Like he's probably the person I've learned from the most. I would hard to say, but definitely up there in terms of people I've learned from. 2013 to 2015, Julian was just unstoppable. He was like next level shit. But then he had his little incident, and then he like just fucking went like kind of like bullshit, like spiritual type of direction, which I think is crap. But yeah, he wasn't very good at the time.
I mean, sometimes, dude, you just got to go down the politically correct route to save your career. That's what a lot of PUAs ended up doing back when like the whole cancellation thing was happening.
Yeah, but I think that's bullshit. Like I think Trump, who I'm not a fan of at all, proved that political correctness is dead, and that people like what's a big part of the reason that Trump won, especially in 2016? It was because people felt like he was like unfiltered, right? He was like he just didn't give a fuck, which is like kind of a very attractive vibe. So I think like actually doing these bullshit apologies when everyone knows you're not really sorry, you're better off just standing on business and being like, listen, this is what I believe. It is what it is. Love me or hate me, that's up to you. Yeah, that's just my take.
Yeah.
Like I'll never go down the politically correct route. I don't care if I have to get my whole channel taken out, whatever. I think it's so cringe when people just say things they don't actually believe.
Marcus is one of the best current PUAs. Justin, the best at social circle. Michael is the best talker. Alex, the best at online game. Would you agree with that?
I mean, Michael is a good talker. I would say he's also good at social circle. I think Michael and Justin are both really good at social circle.
Justin's a legend, dude. I love Justin because of how persistent he is. Like I saw one of his old like cold approach videos before I met him where he ran like 100 approaches in a day. He's just so persistent. It's not even that back then he had good game. I would say his game is much better now. Back then it wasn't the best, but he was just on, dude, like persistent, just set after set after set. And he doesn't let rejections get in his head. Like if for 90% of people, if they got rejected as much as Justin Mark did when he was on the come up, they would have been blackpilled 100%, like 1,000,000% they would have.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with that. All right, let me pull up some comments. We've let a lot build up. Okay, I believe the best way to get girls in such a status, like people think it's because of your pickups line, but if you got 500K subs, they will go to you since you're famous.
Sub count doesn't matter, bro. Like it doesn't matter as much as people think it does.
It doesn't matter as much as people think. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like the number of followers you have and the number of subscribers you have can't speak for you as much as like your charisma, your social status. I always say this, your situational status matters a lot more than your absolute status. So you might have a ton of followers, you may have a ton of money, but how you present yourself in field in real life is what she can judge your value off. Like, let's say that you have 500K followers, you're extremely rich, you have a Lambo, but at the bar you're timid, you're not able to open up, you're not able to be charismatic, no one's talking to you, you have a drink to your chest, you're like looking around. Women are going to perceive that as low value. But if you're over there, you're in a social flow, you're talking to a bunch of people, she sees you smiling, laughing with people, that is more of a demonstration of your status than the number of followers you have, is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I generally agree. Like, okay, let's do this hypothetical. So let's say you're at a club, right? And you have like a famous DJ who like Tiesto or whatever, right? Or Aoki. But then you also have the club owner who everyone knows and is like very popular, like with the club. Or let's say you have a local DJ who only plays at that club. Like, people at that club know of him, but no one knows that DJ outside of the club, right? Who's going to do better, Aoki or that local DJ? It's like kind of an interesting hypothetical. Your argument is that the local DJ would do better, right?
Yeah, my argument would probably say that the local DJ would do better, for sure.
Maybe.
If no one knows who the other guy is at the club, does it matter how famous he is outside of it?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I maybe you're right. It is maybe situational. I don't know. That one I'm like not sure on.
It's hard to compare somebody with extreme. Like, for example, if we compare Drake to somebody who's very well known locally, Drake would destroy him, right? Because Drake is just a global name. But if we're comparing somebody who has pretty good, like reasonable amounts of absolute status, like money, followers, a lot of people around the world know him, compared to somebody who's the guy in a certain location, I think the guy in that certain location is going to do better.
Yeah, I don't think money matters that much, though. I think I call money like diminishing returns. Like, if you go from being poor to being middle class, you will definitely get like a decent benefit in dating. But once you get to like six figures, like once you're at like 200,000 a year, like I don't think you get a substantial benefit going from 200,000 a year to 2 million a year. I really just don't. Yeah. Unless you are using your money strategically to like have parties and shit. The only kind of girls that will help you with is like gold diggers, which you want to avoid in the first place. So I think money is like, there's like a peak to it. And it's also like that with happiness. Like, people who make more money are generally happier up until a certain point, and then it like completely levels out. I forget what the number is. I think it's like 70,000 or something like that. So I would say
it's the status and fame component that's a lot more important than the money component. Like, that's the real needle mover. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen how status and fame plays out. This is like probably one of my funniest stories, but do you know who Peter Dante is?
I've heard, but
you've probably seen him. He was in like all the Adam Sandler movies. He was like,
okay, yeah, I'm sure I've seen him then, for sure.
Yeah, he's like a C-list celebrity, maybe. So I was at this bar when I lived in LA. It was like this local shithole where there was literally no girls except the date I was with, and I just brought her there because it's close to my place. And she was like, big titty hot Latina. And so fucking Peter Dante tried to steal my girl, and he came pretty fucking close. Because number one, he has status. Obviously, he's an actor. And number two, he's really funny. He's a comedian. So he's like, I consider myself pretty funny, but that dude is funnier than me. And he just basically like started roasting me. And the girl was like trying not to laugh, but she was like smiling a little bit. But fortunately, he was like pretty drunk. So I kind of used that against him. I was like, I think this guy is just like retarded or something. Let's get out of here. He's making me uncomfortable. And so I bounced before he had a chance to succeed. But yeah, I just like, I've seen like how girls' eyes light up for fame and status, and it's definitely big.
That's another level, man. It's another level for sure.
Yeah. If you combine status with good game, it's gonna be like unlimited pussy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Greg was crying yesterday and was talking about you. This buddy man didn't for at least 5 a.m. Jesus Christ.
Greg, are we talking about Coach Greg Adams here?
No. Just this dude who, I don't know, who's dedicated his whole channel to attacking me. It's just some random weirdo. All right, let's keep going. I don't trust the game of anyone who's really tall and attractive. Okay, I think that's fair. Yeah. What do you guys think about geomaxxing? I'll let you kick it off.
It's definitely helpful. Let's say that you're in the West, and like, I don't want to promote doomerism and like defeatist mindset. Like, oh, if you're 5'6", move to Thailand. Like, dude, I think you can run game and you can have success anywhere, but let's say that you're really on the lower end of the extreme with height, like you're 5'3", 5'4", and you just think that it's such a limiting factor. Moving to Southeast Asia might be the play. Honestly, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think you're correct. I would just say that I personally would not recommend moving just solely for pussy.
Right? Yeah.
If you like that area and you've always wanted to live there, and it can be a nice side bonus. But also, here's what I've noticed is going to these third world countries. If you're like at zero game, you're still gonna fucking strike out. I know people who've emailed me who are like, dude, I was a virgin, then I went to Colombia, and now I'm still a virgin. I'm like, still some skill is required. So if you're a total fucking simp in America, you'll be a total fucking simp in another country too. So I think the best is when you get good at a first world country and then you take trips to third world countries, because then you're gonna be on like a whole new level. That's my take. Talk about Andrew Tate. I'm curious of YBC opinion. Okay, good question.
Yeah, are you allowed to talk about him on YouTube? Because I heard his name's like.
No, you can talk. I talk about him. Yeah, okay. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any strong opinions on him. I like him. I think he's cool. He inspires a lot of young men. Can you really learn a lot about female nature and game from him? Probably not. He's more of like a money maxer. He's just more of like get rich, get status. And like the position he's in is just not realistic tonight. Like most people are not going to be like Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? So
more like scam maxer. He's like fucking scammed his audience so many times with crypto. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I think he's like kind of like Zurka. He's like a natural. I don't think he ever had to develop game. I think he always had just that natural charisma. So yeah. I have no doubt that Andrew Tate gets a lot of pussy. But his advice, I would say, is like some of it is okay. But the stuff that's okay is just like kind of basic. It's just general self-improvement stuff that's been around for ages.
Can I respond to this one hate comment?
Yeah, of course.
I said some of you dudes are absolutely stupid if you think taking advice from a kid under the age of 22 knows what they're talking about. I'm over the age of 22. Well, I am the age of 22, first of all. Second of all, don't judge by the age of the person giving the advice. Judge by the merit of the advice itself and whether it actually resonates with you. And third of all, guarantee I know more about game than you, regardless of how old you are. Guarantee I have more experiences with women than you, regardless of how old you are. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I don't know how much experience this person has, but everything else. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the age thing is largely irrelevant. I mean, obviously, as you get older, if you stay on this path, you will get better by default. But everyone,
I don't claim to be on the level of like you, Austin Summers, as far as game and like infield and experience wise. You guys crush me. If we go out set for set, you guys would teach me a lot of things. But that doesn't mean that I'm not able to, like transmit knowledge, teach people what I already do know, like along my journey.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Like I think that being young is actually an advantage, because the younger you start, the better you can get. Because like when you're like 40 or 50, you're not going to be learning this shit, right? You kind of have like it's like kind of like fighting. You have your 20s to get good at MMA, right? Or your teens and your 20s. No one's going to be like 35 and it's like, I'm going to get good at MMA, right? Yeah. You'll never be able to compete. And I think it's like that with pickup too. Like the younger you start, like I wish I started younger, honestly. I didn't really start this until I was like 23, honestly, but like for real started. But if I could have started at 16, 17, like I would definitely be like way ahead of my time.
Nope, young kids like yourself just plagiarize older OG stuff. I mean, dude, like these people, when people say that, it's like, do you want me to reinvent the wheel? Do you want me to say something different for the sake of saying something different to tell you something that doesn't work? That's like telling a Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach, oh, you're just plagiarizing from the coaches in like 1990. Like it just doesn't make sense, dude.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's always going to be hate comments. Like no matter who I have,
I love responding to them IRL.
It's not as specific to you. All right, let's see what else do we have. I'm a beginner, intermediate. I'm averaging 4-6 hours. Lots of lead work done by Alex, PWF text game. Okay, cool. True, I got dated 9-9 because PWF text game. Nice, bro. I'm glad to hear. Glad I could help. Always good hearing stuff like this. Many black pillars are solution oriented. No, they are not. They are definitely not solution oriented. They are definitely 100% problem oriented.
Okay, to counter that, though, what do you think about the black pillars who are like into Looksmaxxing and stuff? They propose Looksmaxxing as the ultimate solution.
My counter argument is name me one black pillar who's like jacked.
Who's jacked?
Yeah,
Clavicular.
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of Clav? I think there is a lot of them, but yes, most of them do value face and height to the point where they don't even work out.
Most of them are not in good shape. Like they don't even do the basic Looksmaxxing that doesn't require surgery, just going to the gym. Like most of them are like either skinny fat or whatever, like chubby or average, but none of them like I see very few like black pillars who are actually legitimately in good shape. Very rarely are they actually Looksmax. Like they usually have weird haircuts and shit. They don't really take care of themselves because they're just pessimistic.
Well, those were like the bottom of the barrel doomer kind of black pillars. Now you have this new age of black pillars, which are more about like mogging people and Looksmaxxing. Like Clavicular is an example. I don't know if you've heard of K Shami. He's another example. Like just a bunch of guys who made a career off of being good looking and mogging people. And they give a bunch of like Looksmaxxing advice and they tell you how to improve your looks. Granted, a lot of it is cope, dude, because like, you know, these guys will say crazy things. Oh, you're going to go from like a 5 out of 10 facially to an 8. Dude, no matter what I do, I'm not going to get to an 8 out of 10 facially unless I do surgery. And even that's a maybe because I could botch my face as well by doing that. So there's a lot of cope and grifting as well. Like people think grifting is exclusive to red pill. It is not, dude. Black pillars grift red pillars.
Yeah, you can grift in any industry. Definitely not exclusive. Okay, let me phrase it like this then, because I do think you raise a good counterpoint, even though I'm not familiar with these people personally, but maybe I just don't know them. If black pill was just about Looksmaxxing, I would be fully on board. Like I like the idea of just general Looksmaxxing. I think the height surgery is fucking insane. I don't think anyone should do that. I know people who've done that, not like close friends, but people who've emailed me about it. And just the fact that you can't walk for 6 months is insane to me. And you will never be able to like run the way you used. It's just, I'm not down with that. But, you know, general soft Looksmaxxing, I think is totally cool. Yeah, sure. Help guys, you know, get better hair, get better facial hair, get better skin, you know, whatever, all that. But that's, I think, actually, in my opinion, a small part of the black pill from what I see. The main part of the black pill, from what I see, is either hating on other people, talking about how fucked you are, talking about how awesome life would be if you were Chad. Kind of like this weird, like Chad worshiping, where they literally like, you know how like a lot of guys will keep photos of hot girls on their phone. They'll keep photos of like good-looking guys on their phone.
Yeah, and they make edits of them and shit on TikTok. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I've said this all the time. I said this back in the day as well. Black pillars glaze Chad and worship Chad more than women do.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
more than women themselves do. Yeah, you know what it is? It's kind of like you know how like there's this weird thing around bodybuilding culture where it's like people take steroids because they think the bigger you are, the more muscles you have, the more women you'll attract. Yeah. The same kind of like line of thinking is going on with black pillars as well, where it's like, yeah, facially, I need a mog, I need more ramus length, I need my mandibular angle to be better, I need that canthal tilt. And it's like, dude, at some point you just got to stop. Like, it's cringe. You know, it's just cringe.
It's really weird. And you know who finds it really, really weird? Girls.
Yeah.
When a girl finds out that you're obsessed with beauty more than she is, that you worship Chads, she's going to fucking run 20,000 miles per hour. Okay. She's going to think you're a massive weirdo. Women think this stuff is really weird. And I think a lot of these black pillars are just so detached because they don't talk to women. They're not friends with any woman. So they're so detached from what women think. And they're kind of in their echo chambers and they just all jerk each other off. But like what their version of reality is so far detached from the people who they're actually trying to seduce, I guess, ultimately, which is women.
Yeah. One thing I do wish is I kind of wish PUA was as strong of a cult as black pillars, because I gotta give respect to the black pillars. They will die to defend their ideology. They always back each other up. You say one, like you can go read my community post. If there's an ounce of cope in there or potential cope in there, thousands of comments, cope, and they're all just agreeing with each other and shit. But it's like, I'm expecting PUAs to jump in, defend me, be like, nah, this guy's spitting facts. But it's only a few guys who are experienced or who are in the game who are actually gonna like give you positive reinforcement with comments. Like PUA guys, they're too busy getting laid. They don't give a fuck about they're too busy getting laid. So they don't care about this internet shit. That's why like black pillars are so much of a cult.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think that the biggest problem I have with the black pill is just how toxic they are. Like I will do like a video, right? Like okay, I'll do a video about whatever pickup and some guy will comment who'd be like, hey, just wanted to share this. I'm 5'5" and I'm Indian and I'm dating a girl who's 5'7" and we're in love and I was able to meet her through just cold approach, blah blah blah. And then black pillars will comment, she's probably cheating on you with Chad, or she's probably with you for your money. Like that's their default reaction, just like spreading this toxic negativity. That is where I probably have the biggest problem. It just constantly bringing other people down, and I think I find that problematic. So fuck them.
Yeah, even the Chads in the community get hate from the black pillars. Like,
I'm sure.
You'll have a guy who's really good looking. They'll be like, he's a high tier normie. He probably slays, but not. You guys are glazing him. Like, black pillars are the most negative people you'll ever meet. That's why you never see them in real life. You only see them on the internet.
Yeah, you never see them in real life. They don't leave their house. They're just on their fucking computer, just arguing.
Would you be down though if I did the game versus looks thing? Would you want to participate?
Yeah, maybe. Like the logistics line up with my schedule. Like we would have to do it in Miami or whatever because I don't really travel much. But yeah, potentially.
Yeah, it would be in Miami because Austin Summers does live in Florida. I think he's in Tampa. So logistically, it works out if we do it in Miami. I just need to find 2 Looksmaxxers who are on board to do it. Like the PUA said yes instantly. Like you're already agreeing to it. I know if I hit up Austin Summers, he'll probably agree. All the Looksmaxxers are not gonna want to do this challenge. They're gonna be too scared. So
yeah, you need to find like good-looking guys who have no risk. That's the key.
What about good-looking guys with average risk? Do you think you could still compete?
Maybe, but I think if they're like really good looking, have average risk, and I'm average looking, have good risk, I could probably beat them, but it'd be like really close. Like I think that's where like luck and randomness comes in. I think like to really truly do this is like you need good looking guys who they don't have to be autistic, but they should have like below average risk. But yeah, I don't know if Austin will agree to it because I tried to get him to do a competition like that. And he basically explained to me that he just doesn't feel like it benefits his channel, but you can try. It doesn't hurt to reach out, see what he says.
Yeah.
Alex had a debate with a black pillar where the black pillar guy basically started asking for coaching from him during I remember that. That was Ganstar. And then, of course, he started attacking me afterwards. But yeah, I remember he's like, why am I not getting you matches? Because your photos look like they were made in like a pedophile lab. That's why. Get good photos. And he never actually did that.
Yeah. I've never this might come as a surprise to you, but I don't use online dating at all. Like all my leads come from either social circle or cold approach or nightlife. I don't do any online whatsoever. Maybe in the future I will, but I just don't. I don't know, man. I never got into it. I know that's your thing though. That's your bread and butter, but
yeah, sort of. I mean, I don't argue that online dating is better than cold approach. I just say they're both good. And they have their pros and cons. I'm not like dating apps are the best type of form of dating. But I'm just curious, why did you never like try Tinder or whatever?
I don't know, dude. I just because I kind of grew up with bad mindsets around online dating. Like, for example, like I grew up in the Middle East, right? Like that's where I spent most of my life up until I went to college. And over there, nobody really does online dating. It's mainly social circle. It's mainly like parties and stuff. So it's like. You may be surprised. You're like, Middle East, what the fuck? I thought it's only war and conflict, but I lived in Qatar, like a really good part of the Middle East.
Yeah, right? I'm not like the typical dumb
American. You're political. You're into politics, so you would know.
Qatar is a rich country for sure.
Yeah, Qatar is really rich. So like that's kind of the environment I grew up in. And then I went to Canada and shit, and I just graduated college recently, so I've never felt the need to use online dating because I would always be around women. I'd always like be going to parties, going to events. Cold approach, nightlife. I never really needed to. I never sat there like, man, I'm so lonely. I should download Tinder. But for a guy who's like working a normal job, who doesn't have as many social opportunities, online dating is great, of course.
Yeah, if you have like a lot of options just from like your day-to-day life, then I guess you don't really need dating apps, right? It also depends on what your sex drive is, how many girls you're trying to fuck, how much time you prioritize to dating, all that. I would say most guys are not in that place, but yeah, for someone like Justin Mark or Michael Sartain, like I don't see any point for them being on dating apps, right? Because they just have already too many leads to keep up with. Yeah. Many black pillars used to call Wheat Waffles sub 5, but after he showed his girlfriends, they start calling him mid or high tier normie.
Classic.
So, okay, let's see what else we have. There's a little debate in the chat. Looks did win that show. Loved it though. Watched it 3 times. Do it again. He technically won by half a point. Yes. But again, I don't like the way that ended.
The fact that it was even close though, the fact that it was only by half a point, he should have mogged him. Like by black pill theory, realistically, he should have gotten way more numbers, way more success. To be fair, did I watch this video? Was it the video where the guy kissed her in the set? He ended up kissing a girl in the set. If that was the video, then we're talking about the same one.
I don't recall. It was so long ago.
Maybe, yeah. I just have a good memory. But anyways, the point is like, yeah, he should have done way better then because he's way better looking.
Yeah, I mean, the argument on the black pill side was the reason it was close is because the other guy was like the girls gave him like a pity number, or he was like Justification, whatever. There's always a cope. There's always a reason. YBC, what's your definition of game?
Damn, tough question. Never really had to define it before. I would say just having success with women in every front, on every front, logistically, taking her to the bedroom if that's your goal, raising her interest, basically just everything to do with getting women attracted to you.
Here's the definition I use: your ability to seduce a woman without using money.
Okay, yeah, that's a good definition for sure.
That's the one I've used. But yeah, should you ever call out shit tests and tell a girl it's not acceptable? Like depends on the situation. I don't think like lecturing the girl and taking the moral high ground is particularly going to work. But yeah, what I like to do is I like to flip the shit test on the girl. So if the girl's like, let me try to think of a good example. If the girl says something like, okay, let's say I take my dog to a bar or something like that, right? And the girl's like, "Oh, you brought your dog here?" I was like, "Yeah, did you not bring your dog? What are you doing alone? Don't you have a dog who loves you?" Right? Like I'll flip it on her, and I think that's particularly effective. What's your take?
No, I agree. Like I think the frame of self-amusing and not taking her too seriously is always better than like actually getting mad and offended and trying to lecture her as like this masculine authority, especially if you guys aren't in a serious, like maybe it would be more acceptable to call it out if you're in a serious relationship and you guys have been like dating for a couple of years, or maybe like, okay, you're planning to marry her or whatever the case may be. But like, dude, a girl that you just met or you're casually dating, always keep the frame casual. I don't like to get all serious and wag my finger at a girl.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree. Yeah, don't hate me, but I like Coach Corey Wayne. What are your thoughts on Coach Corey Wayne? I think
I put him at the bottom, dude, and I got hate for that take too. I put him at doesn't stand out to me.
I totally agree. I think he deserves to be at the bottom. He's too feminine. He comes off as a gay guy.
But the amount of people who've told me read Corey Wayne's book, Top 3% Man or whatever it's called, and like it will change your entire life, your dating life. I haven't read it, but maybe I should.
There are some people who can explain game, but their own skills are not good. There's a reason why Coach Corey Wayne has like no infield at all, and he never will.
Yeah.
And it's just, to anyone who knows game, it's like pretty predictable what will happen. Most girls will think he's literally gay. Like that's just, or at the very least, they'll think he's just like a friend zone type of guy. He's just too feminine, and there's just no changing that. And yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. It's weird how the masses don't like technical game, because that's what actually helps. Why? It's not that they don't like it. It's just that it's too much work for them, right? People want the easy path. People don't like doing work. That's just a general like rule of life. People always want the easy path. That's why get rich quick schemes do really well. People are like all about crypto and stuff. People don't want to take the long path, right? And that's unfortunately what is usually required to have success. So I think it has more to do with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think general advice is easier for the mind to consume. Like people like it when things are dumbed down and when things aren't specific. It's like the more of a specialist you become in a field, the less people and eyeballs you have, right? If a guy who has like a bachelor's degree in a topic gives a presentation, a lot of people are going to tune in because it's easier to understand. It resonates with the masses. The average IQ is kind of going to be able to comprehend what he says. As soon as you have a PhD guy talk about something like quantum mechanics, you lose a lot of people because it's kind of the same thing. I'm not saying game is comparable to something as complicated as physics, but like it takes a certain mind to be curious about the technical aspects of game.
The reality of game is that the only way you can get good is by going out and getting rejected a lot. And you're initially going to get rejected a lot. And that's not sexy. That you're just by saying that you already lose 90% of people. They don't like that.
Yeah.
They
call it trauma farming.
Yeah. Oh, never heard that term, but
it's like basically like this is a black pill take, but they'll be like, yeah, if you get rejected a lot, you're just ruining your confidence and self-esteem. Zurka actually said this too. He said, why would you farm rejections? That's only going to have a negative effect on your psyche. It's only going to reinforce the fact that you're unattractive. That's the argument.
Todd does make game incredibly more complicated and over analytical. Yep, agree with that. Easy to say, Alex, but you don't know what you do in Julian's position, millions on the line. I know what I would do, okay? I've never been primarily motivated by money. I mean, money's cool. I like making money. But if my choice was basically be a little bitch and make more money, or like do what I think is right and make less money, I'd go with the second option all day, every day. Just not that important for me to make a shitload of money. And also, I don't think it was actually even good for business. I don't even think it was a good business move. I think people, like a lot of people like me, lost respect for him. Like, I was a hardcore fan, and I just, after that fucking ridiculous apology, I just lost like 80% of my respect for the guy. And a lot of other people told me the same thing. Like, people like respect you when you stand on business, and like, so yeah, I disagree with both sides of that. All right, let's see. What else do we have? How do you be more flirtatious when cold approaching? Most of my interactions are pretty boring, and I get very little results. I only get numbers when I'm lucky. What's your advice here?
How do you be more flirtatious when cold approaching? If you're having trouble showing intent, then just you need to just get that out of your system. So open by showing some intent. If you don't know how to be flirtatious, open by saying, hey, I thought you were cute. Or, hey, I saw you from over there. I thought you were cute. What's your name? Because then, even though it's not like optimal, you're going to get in the habit of showing intent, right? You don't want to be talking to a girl and then not sexualizing in some way. That's my take on it. What do you think, Alex?
How do you be more flirtatious when cold approaching? Most of my interactions are pretty boring. You have to practice not giving a fuck and pushing past your comfort zone. Like when you're with your friends, you're probably a lot funnier and a lot wittier because you don't really give a fuck. You're not worried about your friends, like whatever, rejecting you. And it's the same thing here. You just have to practice just stretching your comfort zone, and then you'll naturally become.
Or you could just John Anthony Max and just have a couple of drinks in you. Let that take care of everything.
No comment on my end. We're in a legal thing, so I can't say too much about it. But yeah. Okay, what else do we have? I don't know. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Let me read. Because I'm kind of tapped in with the comments right now live. I think yours are a little delayed. There were some good talking points in there.
Yeah, feel free to bring whatever you want.
Black pill is full of grifters. Wheat waffles is one of them. Yeah, I agree. Austin Wayne. Yeah, Austin Wayne is like, dude. Austin Wayne's like 6'6", and he's like a top tier Chad, right? So obviously, when he goes out, he's gonna get a shit ton of attention.
I'm not familiar with this person. I've never heard of Austin Wayne.
Yeah, he's like a model, basically like black pill cream of the crop, right? I don't know if if they would call him a PSL god or whatever, but he's definitely up there. Of course, dude, that guy goes around, he's gonna mug everyone. I still think I take him. Just kidding. Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
I did my first 500 approaches. I got 20, 30 numbers and went on 3 dates. Is that good for a beginner? There's no such thing as good or bad. I think it's fine. Like, everyone starts at a different place. One beginner might be way ahead of another beginner. 500, so that means that you got, let's see, that's about, what is that, like 3% close rate? Wait, let me do the math. 52. Yeah, that's like 5%, around 5% close. You got 5% of gross phone numbers. I think that's a fine start. I think 20, 30 numbers in 3 dates, that means you only got, I think you can improve your text game, probably get that number to 20%. But yeah, everyone starts at a low point. When I started, I probably approached fucking 500 girls and got like one phone number. So
it does go up. That's what people don't understand. It's like that might be your starting point, but eventually you'll notice that your close rate actually increases the more you do it. Yeah. Everyone who starts off with games sucks, dude. Like,
for sure. I definitely sucked. I would go out, I would drink heavily in college and just get rejected after rejection after rejection. So
brutal.
Here's a question for you. YBC, why do you put Dr. Kate into your list? He's a psychologist, not a dating guru.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but he also does give a lot of dating advice, dude. He gives a shit ton of dating advice. Like, I would say 30% of his videos are dating related, so I thought I'd just include him. Dr. K's dating advice is way too blue-pilled. Like, way too blue-pilled. Like, not practical. You don't really have many, you don't leave with like a, newfound perspective on dating. He's just like, maybe he gives good psychology advice, mental health advice, but he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to women, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with him. I know I tried to set up a podcast with him a while ago, but he never responded. But I don't really. He's like really popular, but I don't really. I don't understand what the appeal is.
He's too politically correct. That's why I don't really like him.
Yeah, I just don't really see what the appeal is like with him. Like he's just like I don't know, but maybe I haven't watched enough of his content. But then again, I don't understand why most of the people who are popular, I don't understand why they're popular because I think they suck. Like I'll never understand why like Jake Paul and Logan Paul are like super popular. I'll just never understand that because I think they're just so fucking lame. Jake Paul is actually okay, but Logan Paul especially.
What do I think of Jack Denmo? I think he's cool for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where would you put him in terms of the tier list?
I think I put him in the middle, but I did have a bias because I met him and I'm cool with him. Like I'm not like close friends with him or anything, but we chopped it up. We talked a little bit. He actually vouched for my channel as well. So, when someone's nice to me, bro, I have bias.
Like, yeah. I would put him at B+ or A-. He's not quite as good as Marcus or Austin, but who are like S tier. But I think he's like definitely very solid.
Yeah.
Like very solid. Do you know about his whole legal thing that he just went through?
I do, yeah. And the crazy thing is this happened back when he was like going around college because he had a phase where he was going to like college campuses. He went to my college as well, or like a college that I usually go to. And like he was doing like these Hoko videos. It was like everybody out in the daytime, bunch of parties and stuff. I think maybe he hooked up with a girl at that point, and then she came back years later and like accused him of stuff. So
yeah, as far as I'm familiar, some girl he hooked up with later, like years later, claimed that she initially consented, but then changed her mind during sex. And so by that logic, it's quote unquote rape. But I think what it had to do with the fact that she found out that he did a video on her and she didn't like that. So she just wanted to get revenge. Again, don't quote me on all this, but I'm pretty sure that's the situation.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that? Oh, here's an interesting question. Do you guys think Destiny has a good game, or is he just famous? Are you familiar with Destiny?
I am. Yeah, you've debated him a couple times, right?
Yeah. Me and him are buddies. He's been on my channel a bunch of times, and vice versa. Cool. What do you think about his Riz?
I don't know, man. I've never really seen him like. All I've seen are videos of him getting like that one video of Aba in the background and like his wife dancing. That's all I've seen. So I don't know. I have a biased take.
The closest that we have to Destiny game that's publicly available, because I've seen him risk girls privately, but that's not publicly available, is when he did a speed date on my channel, during which he got rejected, and then he like told the girl to fuck off. No, he actually did 2 speed dates. One of them did not go well, and one of them went well. But the girl went well with was a girl that he's friends with and is like clearly attracted to him. So I don't know how much that counts. But
how did you and Destiny meet, by the way? Were you guys buddies from like back in the day, or?
No, we met like we had a mutual friend, and he basically set up a debate for me with Destiny. This was like maybe 3.5 years ago. And then we wound up agreeing on a lot of shit politically and just socially. And so we did more debates, and I would host debates. I would have him on. We did a lot of content together, and we hung out a few times. We were at the same convention once. So yeah, I consider him a friend. I think he would consider me a friend. But yeah, in terms of his Riz, he does have, I will say this, he's definitely above average Riz. Like he's very witty. And he actually he doesn't know, he can't explain game, but he intuitively does like a lot of things right. Like he does intuitively, he does a lot of push and pull without thinking about it at all.
I think that's the Zurka influence because he's friends with Zurka too.
Not anymore. They hate each other now.
Like for real or as a joke? I can never tell.
No. Like Destiny doesn't like Zurka anymore.
Oh, wow.
That happened a while ago too. So he naturally has some risk. I think if Destiny studied game, he could get pretty fucking good. But he doesn't need to because he's got like clout. So he has a lot of girls coming to him, and what risk he has.
His clout actually carries him a lot, right? That's what I heard because I remember Zurka talking about how Destiny cooked him one time and like stole his girl, like a girl that Zurka liked. They were at like a Twitch party, and she went for Destiny instead of him, and that was when he realized the power of fame and status.
I've heard that story. I think it definitely does help. Although Destiny says that back when he was like cleaning carpets, he was still banging like a decent amount of girls from Tinder. But yeah, I'm sure it definitely makes a substantial difference. I mean, Destiny had like a kid when he was like 18 or something, so he was definitely not like some incel virgin. Actually, me and Destiny were supposed to do a cold approach video where I was going to mic him up and videotape him doing cold approach, but he kept bailing on that, so we just abandoned the project.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a good video.
What does Destiny think of game and pickup?
I think that's heavily changed after he met me. I think before me, he used to think it was like creepy and predatory or whatever. I think now he has a more neutral position on it where he thinks like, some pickup advice is good, some is not. But if we go issue by issue, like we talk about game concepts, he'll agree with me on like 90, 95%. Like there's not going to be much disagreement. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest influences I've had in Destiny is like his perception of the pickup community.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think we covered a lot of good shit. Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, man, I think it was a great pod for sure. Maybe let me just scan, see if there are any good questions.
Yeah, for sure. Also tell people where they can find you.
Oh yeah, you guys can find me in my YouTube channel, YBCTooCold. You can also find me on Instagram, YBCLukewarm. I know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have a Twitter. I was thinking of making a Twitter to shit post there instead of on YouTube because I just use my community posts like Twitter, but I don't know.
I actually just got into Twitter like half a year ago. I was definitely late to the party, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah. All you have to do is ask YBC, how do you know if a woman likes you for you? What do you think, Alex? How do you know if a woman likes you for you?
If you have good social skills, you can just tell intuitively. But the biggest indicator is like if you don't lead with your money or heavily lead with your lifestyle, then by default she has to like you for you. If you're leading with your money, then I guess you'll never know. So the solution is just don't lead with money, don't lead with like lifestyle, like lead with yourself. Dave Chappelle has like a good joke on this. He says like, when I go on a date, I'm gonna show up on a garbage truck, and if that girl's like, I'm not dating a garbage man, he's like, I'm Dave Chappelle, bitch, right? But he's like, basically the premise is like, I'm not gonna lead with anything to do with my money or fame, right? So I can see if the girl likes me for me. So yeah, I think that would be my answer. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you lead with money, if you lead with some kind of superficial thing that's outside of you, then typically, it could still be genuine desire. It's not always the case that if you lead with something else that she doesn't like you. She might also like how you look and your social skills on top of the things you have. But if you eliminate that factor, you can be certain that she does like you for you. Some people would say that, the only way you can really know if she likes you for you is if you don't run game at all. Because for some girls, you don't even need game, and she just likes your looks, and she's obsessed with you based on your looks. And at that point, the black pillars would say, well, that's the most genuine form of desire. Do I agree with that take? No, I think it's a bit autistic, but yeah, Krellian.
Your looks are not permanent. Your looks will fade. They're guaranteed to fade over time, but your personality can fade, but doesn't need to fade. Your personality could stay exactly the same. So I think having her be attracted, there's always going to be some better looking guy that comes along, right? There just always is. Even if you're a chat, there's going to be someone who's a bigger chat. So if the only thing you have holding her is your looks, then I don't really think you're that secure in that relationship. But if she fucks with your personality and she thinks you're unique and special, that's a different story.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah, I would make that argument. I was going to say something else. It was going to be about Oh yeah, like what are your thoughts like on this? So Fresh and Fit have many contradictions, but one of them, probably maybe even one of the biggest ones, is they say that they say like avoid gold diggers, avoid these 304s, but they lead with their wallet like really hard. Like for example, Myron has openly admitted that for his girlfriend, I'll put this in quotes because I don't really consider it his girlfriend, that he gives her a credit card that she can use and he pays for rent. Like that's full on leading with your money. And so, like, what do you think about that contradiction of like saying like don't lead with your money, don't go for gold diggers, but then leading with your money so you only attract gold diggers?
Well, like I personally don't think there's anything wrong with um rewarding with money once you already have her attraction. Like let's say hypothetically Myron was he met the girl and like they hit it off and he wasn't leading with his money at all when they hit it off initially, and she liked him and she became his girlfriend, and then he started doing things for her like, okay, you can use my credit card, you can do all this. I think that's a little bit better than just straight up saying, hey, by the way, if you become my girlfriend, then you have this whole list of advantages.
That probably is better. I would still never recommend that. Like I'm in a relationship that I've been in for 5 years. I've known her for 6.5 years, and like I'll get her gifts for her birthday, or like sometimes I'll take her out to dinner. But like she will also return the favor. She'll get me gifts, or she'll take me out to dinner sometimes. So it's not like a one-way exchange. But I could never imagine just being like, okay, use my credit card from now on, or like I'm gonna pay your rent. Like if she was going through a financial hard time, I would definitely let her borrow money. Maybe I would even forgive that loan, right? If she's going through a hard time. But just blanket, like, here's my credit card, like I would never do that. And I love my girlfriend to death. I just feel like that creates a horrible dynamic where ultimately I think the girl loses respect for you, in my opinion, if you lead with your wallet like that. And I think also there's going to be another guy that's going to come along who's going to offer her more, and then she's going to jump ship if that's the only thing that's holding her.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, for me, in my situation, I've never really dealt with any money dynamics yet in my relationships because girls my age, like I date girls between like 20, 18 to 22. Girls my age don't give a like they don't expect me to have a shit ton of money. They don't expect me to be balling to have it. So like my kinds of relationships are like usually, yeah, like I'll pay on a date and I'll do like the little things, but it's never going to be like buying them cars and giving them credit cards or anything crazy like that.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with like paying on the date. Like I think that's just socially accepted, socially expected. Um, my policy is if I like the girl, if we get along, she's cool, I'll pay for her drinks. But if she's a bitch, then I'm gonna just pay for half the bill.
Yeah, and also I don't really like. I feel like when you're younger as well, I think you'd agree with me at this, even at the older ages, dinner dates just aren't escalation friendly.
No,
I
dinner
think,
dates are, yeah, you're 100% correct. Dinner dates are
yeah,
horrible. I haven't done one in a decade. And when you're in a relationship, like meeting a girlfriend's different, but a first date, second date, yeah, don't fucking do dinner date.
yeah, I think it's better like maybe something a little bit more dynamic, walks in the park, going to get drinks, something where you guys are kind of moving a little bit, going from location to location instead of just like being stagnant face to face. You're both like holding wine glasses and you're just like, oh, so where are you from? Where do you work? Like that's a typical date and it's just too boring. Way too
Yeah, my typical date is inviting the girl straight over, but if she doesn't want to do that, I'll say, let's take my dog for a walk, and then just pull her like 20 minutes later after I build some comfort. Yeah, you're completely correct on that. Dinner dates are a horrible idea. I don't know why people still do them. And then they'll bitch afterwards. They'll be like, I spent $150 and nothing happens. Like, well, you didn't need to spend $150. In fact, you would have been better off if you spent $20 on drinks.
Right. Movie dates, I would argue movie is better than dinner dates.
Oh, I don't know. They're both bad.
Movie is better than dinner though, if you had to compare the two. Because at least with a movie, you guys are kind of like sitting next to each other, shoulder to shoulder. There's more, you guys can talk a little bit during the movie as well. And it's like a like lower stake situation than just like a dinner date where it's just awkward. I get very awkward on dinner dates. I can't do it. My worst game comes out in a dinner date.
I don't like to talk while I eat. That's my thing. I like to like listen or watch something. Even me and my girlfriend, like I'll cook dinner for both of us, and then she'll be on her phone, and I'll be listening to my podcast while I eat, and then I go back to interacting with her. I don't like talking while I eat. Period. Like that's just like I don't know, personal quirk of mine or whatever. So yeah, the idea of a dinner date sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was really good having you on. We'll definitely have you on again. You should come on our Monday panel one of these days.
Yeah, if you invite me, I'll be happy to come on for sure. It'll be an honor, man. Get
Yeah,
to
for
talk
sure.
to some of the other guys. Get to know
man.
you guys. More.
100%. Yeah, but thank you again for coming on, and everyone in the chat. Appreciate you guys showing up. Share this with a friend. You know, it always helps an algorithm if people share this video. So appreciate you guys, and make sure you check out my video from today. I worked really hard on that. That was like a week's worth of work. So check that out. Basically, it's like the ultimate guide to how to approach a girl. I show every type of opener out there and then some. So check it out. All right, guys. Love you. See you later.